Hey, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you enjoy this quick Tarkov tip. Today, we'll be talking about advanced keybinds and how they can overhaul your gameplay. If you want the TLDR, we'll be talking about utilizing press and release binding to bind multiple actions to the same key. But if you'd like more info and some use cases, then please feel free to stick around. Now, keybinds and settings in general are a huge topic that can be largely boiled down to preference. What works for me may not work for you, but I want to show you a few bindings that I use to help explain the concept here. The first double binding that I use is a sort of brain-dead med hotkey that automatically performs the most urgent medical action when pressed. To set this up, we're going to bind two different slots to the same key with the press and release setup, as seen here. Now, when setting up your meds, mouse over your hemostat and press your key, but don't let it go. Now, mouse over your Salewa and release it. What we've done is bound our hemostat and then our Salewa in sequence to the same key. To clarify, this will not perform both actions with one key press, but rather it can perform either action with one key press. And due to the way we've set up the sequence of events, this key will prioritize the most urgent medical action when pressed. Our hemostat is on the press of the key, so as soon as we press the key, the game is checking to see if we have any heavy bleeds to heal. When we release the key, if we're not already using our hemostat, the game will then check to see if it needs to use a Salewa, which handles light bleeds and then missing HP in that order. A quick note, you can interchange the hemostat for an S mark and the Salewa for any healing item, and this will work the same way. The Salewa can also handle heavy bleeds, and you would achieve the same overall effect of this binding by just carrying a Salewa and binding that to one key. But the issue with that is that using a Salewa to heal your heavy bleeds absolutely kills its durability, and you'll be out of meds before you know it. The next, and in my opinion most useful application for this, is to automatically hold your breath when you aim down sights. To do this, bind your aiming action to the press of your right mouse button, and then bind your hold breath to the release. I do recommend still keeping a secondary key bound for toggling your hold breath manually. I'll touch on why more in just a moment. Now, when you press and release your right mouse button, you will automatically aim down sights and then hold your breath. Now, this does not magically mean that your breath is always held when you're aiming down sights, but it does bind the two actions together in sequence. You still have to play around the normal gameplay mechanics of holding your breath. For example, you cannot hold your breath while moving in EFT, so if you press and release your right mouse button while on the move, you still won't be holding your breath, and you'll have to hold your breath once again once you stop moving. This is where that secondary key binding comes in. The last application I have for you comes in handy with this wipe's edition of weapon malfunctions, and this takes the same concept as before and applies it to inspecting and then fixing your weapon. Fixing your weapon is bound to the release of the key, and inspecting it is bound to the press. Now this one does come with an asterisk, as it behaves a bit awkwardly at first and can mess you up if you aren't careful. With this configuration, you must keep your key held down for the duration of the weapon inspection animation. If you release too early, you have to start all over with inspecting your weapon. I actually realized while filming this that it would be a good idea to add a secondary binding here in case of an early release, and so I did that. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really hope you learned something that helps improve your gameplay. If you enjoy my content, I would love for you to come hang out and see it live over at twitch.tv/excazh. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next video. Peace.